Hey, okay, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. First up, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make some hoop earrings. I'm going to show you a couple of different designs. I originally made this video for a Facebook group that I'm an instructor for. The name of the group is Polymer Clay Learning Club. If you're not a member there, you should go check out that group. There's 7 instructors, and we each have our own day that we do a lesson. So mine is on Wednesday. So this video was supposed to be for the group, but I'm running short on time, so I cut down the video and only showed part of it for the group, and then I'm showing the full video here for you guys on YouTube. So something I wanted to tell you coming up is that I don't know, you may not see a whole lot from me because my art show season is starting. My first show for the year is weekend after next, so I'm going to be really busy. Plus I have the Facebook group and things like that, so my videos may either be shorter or I may only upload one every other week, but I will try my best to keep up with it and keep doing one a week. My intention was to have enough of them like pre-done and ready to go so that I wouldn't have to worry about making them during show season, but that didn't work out because I'm too slow at this. So anyway, I wanted to tell you about the Facebook group, and I wanted to let you know that's why I may say some things in that video that don't really make a whole lot of sense, like something about Wednesday, etc., etc. So yeah, okay, I hope you enjoy, and I hope you make some hoops. Hello, gorgeous. I'm glad you joined me on this wonderful Wednesday. I hope you're having a great day so far. Can you guess what we're going to do with this? Huh? We are going to, oh yeah, we got this too. I'm going to show you how to make hoop earrings. Specifically, we're going to be doing this pattern here. Okay? What I have here is some scrap clay. This is mud clay. And then I have some pretty scraps, round cutters, toilet paper roll, and this is a roll like, I think it's from like aluminum foil or plastic wrap, something like that. It's not very big. It's a lot, it's somewhat smaller than the toilet paper roll, but it's very hard. So I really like using that for making hoops. Okay. Have you got your scraps? Are you ready? Go raid your scrap bin. So I'm going to start with my scrap log. I've got some clay rolled out on my thickest setting. Everything I'm using today is scraps. This is on the thickest setting, and I'm going to wrap this. Okay, this is a little bit too long. That's okay. Just going to squish it down until I get it about the length or the width of that length, whatever, you know what I mean. If you're making like big hoop earrings that are on, I guess like the what am I trying to say, the diameter of them is big, and if they're chunky like those that I showed you, you might want to use something like ultralight for this part so that they won't be too heavy. Like those pink and blue ones. Let me get them. These are bigger around than these two, but yet they're all about the same thickness. This one was made on the heavier roll, like the aluminum foil. These and these are just kind of made freehand. But yeah, these are, I mean, they're wearable, but they're pretty heavy. So need to think about that when you're making these, because hoops actually can use up quite a bit of clay. Roll it out. Try to make sure I don't have air trapped between the scrap in the middle and the yellow on the outside. Okay, tips for rolling a log by hand. You don't want to use your fingers. Don't roll on this part because those dips in your fingers there are going to show up in this. Same way here. You can roll it some here, but you have to be very, very light-handed with it. The best place to roll is you want to flatten your hand out, like really far out like that, and then roll across through here, or you can roll kind of through here, but I do it best when I roll through here with my hand stretched out like that to get it as flat as I can. And then you want to be gentle. You never want to roll too much at one time because you will definitely leave marks in there. Now I'm rolling from here to about right there, but I'm being very, very gentle. I am putting very, very little pressure on here. I'm swapping hands back and forth. I'm also going to flip my little log over, try to keep things even. I mean, I really can't stress to you how light-handed I'm being with this. Mostly just putting enough pressure on it to make it roll, and that's it. Now, it takes longer when you're doing it this light, but you'll get a lot more even log. As if you try to go too far too fast, you're going to get it really, really uneven. And then you want to keep rolling this out until you get it, you know, the thickness you want your, well, no, not quite. We're going to stop before we get it as thick as what we want it to be. Just keep going back and forth. Twist it a little if you need to get it moving. I forgot to mention that the mud clay, the core, was already well conditioned. I'm twisting, pulling. Here again, you want to be gentle. Don't want to try to do too much, too far. I mean, too much, too fast. You know what I mean. You can go with both hands and pull as you go. But to do that, you kind of need to do it with your fingers. Which you could do that until you get it closer and then roll it out really smooth and even. There again, you want to be very, very gentle. I just find that I get a better, more even log just doing it with the palm of my hands and not pulling from both directions. Just, and see, it's moving for me, even though I'm just barely rolling it. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more pressure here just to kind of get it where I want it. But notice now that I'm putting a little more pressure, I'm not rolling as much. I'm just rolling right through here that's on the flat part of my hand. Put a little bit more pressure and just roll it through there. Start at one side, move to the other, switch hands, flip that around. Now, you may have a better way of rolling out your logs and getting them even. This is just the best way that I have found. I struggled with that for a long time. That's one reason I haven't made hoops before now. I just recently started making them, but I could never get an even log. And if you try these tips and you still can't get an even log, you can always use your extruder and extrude around a round log, and then just cover it with the clay that you want to, or if it's not big enough, you can cover it with a couple of layers of, you know, like mud clay, and then cover it with the colored clay that you want to use. So you can use an extruder. It's just, it's a little bit more work. And also this, being able to roll an even log like this is a skill set that will come in handy. You know, it's a good skill to have. Just takes a little practice. And you can always practice on your mud clay to start out with. Okay, now I'm going to take my marbled, let's see, I'm going to use the pink one. My marbled scrap clay here, and I'm also going to roll it out. Now this time I'm being really hard with it because I don't care if it's uneven. Matter of fact, I want this to be uneven. So I'm going to roll this out really thin. And this time, see, I am using my fingers and I'm spreading, but that's because I don't care if it's uneven. And if it is too even, then I'm going to make it uneven. Randomly going to wrap this around in a back and forth kind of pattern. And you can just design yours ever how you want to. I'm just doing my little squiggles. But yeah, I'm just teaching you how to make the hoops. You can obviously, you know, do whatever design you want to on them. You know, like the other ones I showed you, I had covered with a cane, and one of them was just made out of some scraps from that same cane. Then a couple of them were my squiggle designs. Well, there's lots of different ways to do these. I've even thought about maybe adding a 3D element to it. That might be a little bit harder to cure. I'm not sure. Like, you'd have to be, of course, I guess if you just put the design on the front side after you got it rolled out, it really wouldn't matter. I'm almost to the end here. Okay, now it's time to roll it out again. So make sure I got that pink clay off of me and off of my surface. And then I'm going to start rolling. Just like I did before, I'm going to start out a little bit heavy to, you know, to get the squiggles flat. A little bit softer till I get it about the, what would that be, the diameter that I want it? Anyway, the size that I want it. Okay, right now I've got some thick spots in it, some uneven spots. So I'm just rolling just in those areas to roll out those thicker spots. Now, if I had gotten this closer to this length before I put the squiggles on there, they wouldn't be spread out so much. So you have to keep that in mind too, like, you know, how much you want your design to spread. But I started, you know, put the design on this one with it pretty fat. So this design turned out a lot different than what I had planned. But that's okay. Like, these are very, very squiggly, whereas these are gonna not be so squiggly. Okay, this is the one I'm gonna use. This is the medium sized one that I had out. All right, so just gonna wrap this around. And then preferably where the seam is of the cutter, I'm gonna wrap it around. I'm not gonna go real tight with it because I'm gonna have to pull this out. in order to make my other earring, but I'm going to cut right about there and right about there, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to squish these two right here together because I want it to stay nice and round. And if you don't squish it together, it almost kind of goes wonky right here. Say if it was ending right here and right here, it kind of goes wonky right there. It doesn't want to stay round. So I'm going to squish those together. Gently pull this out, and of course it's sticking, and that didn't stick together. It's okay. Let's try again. Can just squish it down right there on my paper. This clay is so doggone sticky, but yet it doesn't want to stick to itself. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, put this back on there. Make sure it's round. You know, maybe I should have put some Armor All on this. This clay is just really sticky. Okay. I think that's pretty good. It's nice and round. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, I decided to show you a second design on this one. I was going to do pink with the blue squiggles, but I decided to do something different. Now, I've already got this rolled out to about the size that I want it. Not quite. I think it still needs to be a little bit longer, but it's about the thickness that I want it. And then I rolled my blue out skinny, but this time I didn't, I mean, it's not completely even, but I didn't deliberately make dents in it. And then I decided to use some of that yellow too that we used from the first design, and I'm going to do the same with it. Roll it out kind of thin. I'm just going to take a little craft knife and I'm just going to cut off little pieces and just attach them on, kind of almost like sprinkles. Maybe I'm going to put them different directions, doing them different thicknesses, or not thicknesses, but different lengths. I'm hoping these aren't too thick. Another way that you could do this would be to roll out a flat sheet, roll it through the pasta machine, and then cut off a long strip, and then cut it from there. And then it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't spread as much as you roll it out. I'm just going to roll out this little part here and make sure. Yeah, that's cute. I just want to make sure my pieces weren't too big or too close together. And like the previous one, I don't want to overlap them. There again, if that's the way you wanted your design, you certainly could. You do it however your little heart pleases. And whatever your creative brain comes up with. Tell you, the other day, I had such a wonderful day of working. I wasn't worried about my art show. I wasn't worried about content creating. I wasn't worried about doing this. I wasn't worried about YouTube. I just created. And it was just one of those days where everything was just working out. The flow was going. It was just, and it was a much needed day like that. And it was such a good day that when it was bedtime, I could not shut off my brain. I could not shut off my creativity. So, yeah, I had trouble sleeping that night, but still, it was a fantastic day. And sometimes you need that, you know? Sometimes you need to just sit down, just create, and just have fun, and just kind of forget about all your problems or whatever else is going on in your life. Just sit down, let your creativity flow, and just have fun. And I know sometimes, especially us women, I think, when we know the hubby has to be taken care of, and the kids have to be taken care of, and the laundry needs to be done, the house needs to be clean. It's hard to just sit down and do something like this that is fun, you know? And, I mean, for me, yeah, it's my job, but it's also really fun. I mean, I love it. And I know sometimes it's hard to just let the rest of the world fall away and just sit down and do that, because it's always like somebody always needs something from us, you know? It's time to cook dinner, or, you know, maybe the kids want to go somewhere, or, you know what I mean. I mean, it's like, it's always something, right? But, ladies, sometimes, I'm not saying be selfish. I'm just saying we all need our own outlet sometimes. And if your outlet is art or crafting or your hobby or whatever you want to call it, then we all need that, you know? Everybody needs time to their self. Everybody needs their outlet, their thing that makes them happy and that is fun and that they enjoy doing. But the thing is, you shouldn't feel guilty for that. There is nothing wrong with taking a little bit of time for yourself and doing what you love doing. Even if that means letting other things go, maybe just for that day, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't feel guilty about doing something that makes you happy. And like I said, I'm not saying just completely neglect all of your responsibilities. But there's nothing wrong with taking a little time for yourself. And I know there's somebody watching today that needed to hear that. I know there is. Okay, I got my little sprinkles on there. So now it's time to get them nice and incorporated into the log and rolled out smooth. And if it's getting a little bit longer than you want it to be, which I think this one probably is, but yet it's still not smooth. The sprinkles still aren't smoothed in. So I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit. Trying not to get it too, what's the word, uneven. Because I'm going to have to smooth all of those bumps back out. Just trying to get it a little bit shorter, a little bit fatter. Okay. And then as I roll it back out, then another way you, oh, I was going to say as I roll it back out, these will smooth into the background. Another way you can make it fatter or shorter, how you want to say it, you can roll your hands into each other instead of out. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. You just move your hands toward each other instead of away from each other like you do when you're lengthening it. Okay, see how fat it is now? Okay, and then I'm going to roll it back out to get it the length that I need it. And as I roll it back out, then all of my confetti, sprinkles, whatever we're going to call this design, all of those will get smoothed in. Just a reminder, I am barely touching this. Barely touching it. Just giving enough pressure just to get it to roll. That's about it. Alright, this time I'm going to use my, aluminum foil roll or whatever it is. Now, to test this, I'm going to make sure that I can wrap this around twice. One wrap for each earring. Yes! There we go. So, I'm just going to cut this in half. Or roughly in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. Cut a little bit of these ends off because they're a little bit smaller. Which really doesn't matter because I'm going to squish them together anyway. I didn't think about that. Now, when you're wrapping it around this, like on the other one, it was flat on the paper, on the tile, right? But with this, you're just wrapping it around in thin air. So, we need to try to make sure that the wrap is perpendicular to the roll. If not, your earring will come out wonky, you know. So you want to try to keep it as straight as you can. Keep them straight. You can kind of roll it around like this, and well, it's not quite straight to you, but roll it around and you can look and see as you're rolling if it's straight. And if there's a spot that's not straight, when you're rolling it or spinning it like this, not rolling, spinning it, you can kind of see if there's a spot that's out of place. Alright, so this is ready for the oven. These are ready for the oven. I've got them in a pan here that's lined with cardboard. Like the really thin cardboard, like my pet food packages come in. And then this will, see, this is long enough that it will sit on top of this so that it doesn't smush my hoops. Okay? So once again, I'll make sure these are nice and straight before they go in the oven. I'm going to put them in the oven and get them cured. Okay, my hoops are out of the oven. They are cooled, but they might still be a little bit warm. I probably should have done this when they were a little warmer, but that's fine. Got a sharp craft blade here. And now I'm going to cut this, I've already cut one side, the smush out right there. And the size space that you want to leave here, that's up to you. You can do it where it's got just a little bit of space there. Or you could make like a half hoop if you wanted to. Just, you know, just ever what size you want to cut out. But one thing when you're cutting, you need to have your blade pointed toward the center of the circle. You always want to cut toward the center. Like that. Okay. And go about, probably about right here. Make sure I'm angled toward the center. If this was a little bit warmer, it would be a bit easier to cut. Now, I didn't quite get this cut straight. You know, it's angled there. It's another thing you need to watch out for. You need to try to keep your cuts as straight as you can. So I'm going to cut that again. It's still crooked, but that's okay. I can fix it with sanding. Okay, find my squish. I'm going to line these up the best that I can. And cut this one too. Now these are, because they're small, they're like really flexible. So I have to be careful and not, you know, flex it too much while I'm trying to cut. And like I said, you can fix your your cuts up with sanding, because you're never going to get them. See how crooked that one is, and you're never going to get them exactly the same and exactly straight and all that. So you can definitely fix those up afterwards with sanding. Go ahead and cut these two. May have to get a different blade to cut these since they're so big. There again, they would be a lot easier to cut if they were still warm. Let me get this blade is really thin, so it might be a little bit easier. And I also didn't have that at the right angle. There we go. This blade is easier. It's just not as rigid as the other. Toward the center. I had to move it here. There we go. Now we'll cut this one the same. And from here, things are really easy. Like I said, you want to sand this to where it's straight and they are both the same size. And then you just want to add your post and then cover it with clay there so your post is attached, and then cover this end with a little bit of clay. And that's it. Before you cover them though, you're going to want to file this. This edge here is like really sharp. So when you're filing this straight, you want to file this edge right here too, where it tapers in just a little bit before you put your little end piece there. Okay. All right. Hope you learned something new today. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll be checking out the comments all day, so I'm here to help you if you need me. All right. Thanks. See you next Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Okay, thanks. Bye.